Everyone to be able to go and enjoy their Sunday evenings. The first one's September that has no football. So I don't think there's any basketball games left either. All right, well, good evening, my fellow parishioners and guests of Holy Name Parish here in Steamboat.
Does anyone need a copy of the report? Does anybody need a copy of the report? Speak up now or remain silent forever.
Okay, well, I can skip over a lot of this, which is exactly what Father just said, which is if you haven't received the report, please update your address, and we will also be able to provide you with a copy. Well, anyways, it's my privilege to be here today to share some insights into the recent parish financial report for the last 3 fiscal years. On behalf of the Financial Report Committee, I would like to thank everyone for their generosity over these last few years. Your support of our parish with your time, talent, and treasure allows us to share the love of Jesus Christ with others. Now that our enrichment center is complete, we are able to gather as a community to enjoy in its area. You will see from the information in the opening pages of the report that there's a lot to celebrate. Our church continues to provide a beautiful place to welcome and share with our Catholic family and the greater Yampa Valley community. And now I will turn to the 2022 through 2024 financial report. Currently, we are facing 3 major challenges that have placed our parish in significant debt, approaching $4 million. I would ask that you turn to the second page of the report if you have it available. Here, we will address the first of the 3 major items of note, the Enrichment Center. If you'll turn your attention to the second full paragraph of Father Gregory's introductory letter on the second page of the report, it talks a little bit more about our decision to have moved forward with the build-out of the church basement, which was the initial construction plans made in September of 2021, which was preceding Father Gregory's arrival. The choice at the time was either to borrow the funds from the Archdiocese of Denver and get the construction started, or be at the mercy of increasing inflationary construction costs and defer time to its completion. It is also true that the decision to proceed with the construction of the Enrichment Center in September of 2021 caused some division within our parish. There is good news, and the good news is that the construction has been completed and it is functioning as intended and beyond. If you have not done so already, I would encourage you to walk downstairs and see it for yourself. We believe that the Enrichment Center is a significant enhancement and a valuable asset of the parish. Since its completion, we have seen increased usage and a strong sense of community through the programming available in the increased space. If you come on Tuesdays to Mass and dinner, you'll see myself and my family enjoying in the food and fellowship as presented through the community dinner. I would also highlight that on Christmas Eve of this year, we had over 1,200 people available at the 4 p.m. Mass, a record attendance, which was not possible without the new space. Now, if you'll turn your attention to page 5 of the report, the Enrichment Center has put the parish in debt of over $3.7 million and rising, and with that debt held with the Archdiocese. As noted there on page 5, this was initially supported by 101 households in the parish. That number has since tripled to be supported by 307 households as the close of our fiscal year on June 30th, 2024. So we want to provide a little context that when the new church was built and completed in 2014, that cost $9.1 million in total. We raised $9.4 million total against that. That meant we were able to fund the construction without any debt. Admittedly, from when we began raising money for the new church in 2007 until completion of phase 1 in 2014, we had a few miracles along the way, with participation from over 1,200 households. Holy Name's pastoral and finance councils continue to work with Archbishop Aquila and his staff to achieve a workable solution in order to improve the parish's overall financial condition. Ladies and gentlemen, if you'll please turn to page 9 of the report, that will take us to our second financial concern. which is the rectory restoration. As noted in the report, and some of you may or may not be aware, that there was a fire in 2022 of the residential portion of the parish office, which was severely damaged and has been unusable since that time, with our priests residing in the annex property in the meantime. We have received donations totaling $350,000 to date and another $124,000 in insurance proceeds, with the estimated reconstruction costs of $700,000, which seem to be in line with the increase in costs of the construction due to inflation here in the Yampa Valley. We still need at least $226,000 to complete the restoration of the rectory, and we have chose not to borrow any additional funds due to the rising debt from the enrichment center, and the project will not be completed until all funds have been raised. This brings us now to our third and final cause of Holy Name Parish's current financial deficit. And thank you for your patience as we conclude. The offertory. From page 6 of this report, you can see that our offertory receipts have been steadily declining. The good news is we have had enough cash to pay current expenses. We are not, however, bringing enough offertory on a monthly basis to cover our current monthly expenses. We have been able to meet our operating expenses through fiscal year ending on June 30th, 2024, because of a significant estate gift which was able to bridge the gap. Though the parish may receive significant estate gifts on an annual basis going forward, it is not part of our baseline assumptions. Thus, we must address and arrest the downward spiral the parish's experience in offertory. With that said, we have a few strategies in place for recovery. If you'll go to page 9 of the report, Father Gregory, the Holy Name Finance Council, the Pastoral Council, and members of the Financial Report Committee will be meeting in the upcoming weeks as a task force for the purpose of creating a plan to present to the parish on how to recover from our fiscal deficit and how to avoid a recurrence so that the parish can recover and remain, as they say in finance, in the black. If you're interested in joining this task force and helping with this project, please contact Father Gregory, myself, or any member of either of our councils herein today. In conclusion, we want to thank you for your care, concern, and generosity regarding our current parish financial situation. I and others are now available to answer any questions that you may have. And we would ask that you would please consider how you may be able to contribute with your time, talent, and treasure to our parish's current needs. May God continue to bless our parish so that we may make missionary disciples who glorify God's holy name by our life. Now I would ask Jim Moylan, our chair, Joe Bender is a member of our parish council, and Father Gregory, who I didn't realize was standing behind me this whole time,
Always behind
to
you.
answer these questions that any of you may have. Or if you want to talk about other stuff, we're here.
I got your back. Any questions, comments, concerns? Well, then you should be able to answer it as well, because you had more time to think about it.
Well, I'm only parish counsel, see, and these guys are accountants and CPAs and lawyers and attorneys and finance counsel. So are we servicing the debt right now? Or the loan, I should say.
I'm going to answer this in a legal way because we have a couple lawyers here, and if they were representing me, they would say to answer the question and nothing more, and the answer to that question is no.
Okay, thank you.
I'll elaborate because this isn't a deposition. What that means is that currently we have the interest tacked on to the principal of our debt. The Archdiocese has been working with us over the last 2 years as we work to rectify the situation and understand where we went wrong on some of the calculations. So the interest has been added onto the principal. However, we are going to actually start paying that at some point this year. So for right now, it's acting as a pay in kind, and very soon we're going to be paying that nominally, which is going to be increasing the amount of operating expenses that we have on a monthly basis in total.
And so you're saying eventually we'll be making the payments on the loan?
Yes.
Okay. And so then, once we're doing that, sorry about my frog in my throat. And when we're doing that, then the what they're calling the accrued penalties will cease to be assessed. Is that correct?
There's no penalties. However, right now we're in a grace period where we haven't been assessed on the amount of money that we've raised for doing the construction costs. We don't know how long that's going to go on. There are members of our parish who've worked on letters with the Archdiocese, and maybe this is something that the task force is going to be able to work with on the Archdiocese going forward. But the baseline assumption is that at some point we're going to be assessed. So maybe there's a window of opportunity for us to raise a good amount of money without an assessment before that might happen.
Well, I'm not talking about that assessment. I think I'm talking about what they're calling the accrued interest, which they said was $51,000 in 2024.
Yes. So the interest expense is going to be start paying in full on top of the $3.7 million, which is the amount of principal plus interest that we've already accrued. So we're going to be paying, call it roughly a 7 to 8% interest rate. However, there is some good news about that as well, which is that any money that we do raise, we put into the revolving fund, which is within the Archdiocese. So if we raised a good amount of money, it would lower the total cost because we're accruing at roughly a 200 basis point lower interest rate on money that's held at the revolving account. So it lowers the amount of total interest that we would have to pay if we raised a good amount of money.
So since we have 307, was it, participating in the Enrichment Center fundraising right now, that would imply that there would be funds building up as a reserve, or is that what's going into your revolving
Well,
fund?
that's part of it. That's true. However, with a debt cost somewhere between 7 and 8%, that's going to be exhausted, pretty much within a year.
Well, yeah, I'm not looking at it that way. I'm saying, I'm asking, I guess, do we have any money built up in reserve?
Yes, we have money in the capital account currently, which is roughly about $300,000.
Oh, that's good.
Is this all the questions you had, Joe?
Well, a lot of people, I talked to a lot of people.
Well, you've been past
Father,
part of
why,
this.
why don't you talk
yes.
about one thing, and that was a question that came up during some of the other masses, with respect to the insurance relative to the $124,000 that we got in the insurance versus how much we raised versus the total construction cost, and why that number wasn't bigger.
Can't you answer that question?
I wasn't there, so I couldn't.
Yes, very good. Were you there? Would you like to answer that question,
You
Jim?
answered the question last night. Go ahead.
Very
You did a
good.
good job with it.
Very good. Well, thank you for setting me up. Yes.
I think everybody can hear me. I'll just talk loud. I just want to make one comment, and that is the Enrichment Center is beautiful and is very functional. And I think if the parish had not gone forward with it when they did, it would never get done. Because construction costs are right now are far more than anyone had an idea they would be 3, 4, 5 years ago. So, bravo for doing it. I think it was the thing to be done. Now, we just got to figure out how to pay for it. But people have been, I mean, this is a very affluent community, but not everybody in the parish is affluent. And there's a lot of people who've been hurting, for lack of a better term, for several years now. Hopefully, things are going to get better.
Amen.
So, that's my 2 cents.
Anybody else?
Thank you.
Anybody else? No? Thank you very much.
What's the term? How long is the loan for?
Well, the first $2 million that's supposed to be a bridge loan is for 10 years. And then the second 1.5 million that we had to ask to remedy for the shortfall, it's for 15 years, because the Archdiocese already saw 15, because already saw through our finances that it will be difficult for us to service everything within 10 years. Usually the conditions for construction projects within the Archdiocese of Denver are that the parish has to collect 50% of the cost of the project and then have a plan how it's going to pay off the 50% that the parish will borrow to go ahead with the construction. So that's something that now we have to think about. We probably by now at this point are at the position that we're supposed to be when we would start that. And the benefit is that we are not starting it at the cost that it's even higher today than it was 2 years ago when the construction started. And we had here people who were involved in the building committee who was working on it initially when they were working on it, and in 2019 the cost was under $200 per square foot, and in their conservative mind they decided to shoot for inflated $200 per square foot. It ended up being what?
It was $560 something.
Yes, so almost $600 a square foot. So the costs have tripled. So in a way, the parish being in Steamboat Springs with its boom and popularity and rising building costs, have fallen a victim of that situation. But with God's help and generosity, coming from this is my 4th parish as a pastor, I have to say that parish has been extremely generous when it came to it. At the exiting position, as it was mentioned, we had only 101 households who at that point supported the parish. Actually, their pledges were 1.4 million and they have given 1.6 million. So surpassed that. Unfortunately, the costs have risen to $6 million, including the soft costs. And when they were asked to help, we had another 200 families that supported the project, to almost doubling that. And so that was very generous, and per capita Actually, we had 20 families within our parish that have contributed more than $2 million to this project. So then the remaining additional 200 families that aided, 280 have done $1 million. So, I can only congratulate parish on its generosity, and we hope that in this year of hope, we'll be able to have that hope and find the ways how to service the debt and increase the offertory in the future. So thank you very much for your time and your interest and your support of the parish, ongoing support, and we just need to include more people, in it, because as you could also read on the report, we had 1,200 households giving us any donation, within those 3 years. This includes the general budget of the parish, Operation Good Shepherd, plus rectory restoration. We just need to increase the number of people who support enrichment center, tapping into that 900 households that for whatever reason, while they chose to support us in other areas, they have not supported the enrichment center yet. So over last 2 years, we were able to triple the number of supporting families from 101 to 306. We need to find the ways of including and convincing people who support us but did not support that particular project. And thank you very much to the Finance Council, Pastoral Council, Fundraising, the Finance Report Committee that have helped us with this, and all of you who are interested to help us in the future. So thank you very much, and God bless. And thank you, Shelley, with the sound booth.